Hey everybody, and welcome back to another Red Ravens Social Club video. Today we are going to be going over the 0.9.0 update for Astroneer. Now, apologies to the guys that were watching my last video, my last live broadcast. We had just started a new video on the same topic. I had a couple of viewers in watching and the game crashed and it just completely ended my broadcast. So apologies to you guys if you actually come back and watch this video. Sorry about that. The game is still very much in its preview stages and it does indeed still have a few bugs, which is ironic really, because I had just been saying that I think most of the bugs have been sorted. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to just, rather than go back into that game that just crashed, I'm going to start a new game and go through the whole update from start to finish. Now with this update there has been shredders have been added to the game, so you can now gather up all the bits of crashed spaceships that you find around the surface, and you can put them in the shredder and it gives you a scrap resource which you can use on your trade post. Now I think this is a really good update myself, because the trade post was okay, but with this now you can actually explore the surface of the planets a bit more, gather some of that scrap up and start using it to your advantage. So yeah, let's head straight in and start a new game. I always like to use a little orange dude. I don't know why, he seems to be my favourite. Let's see where we are going to land today. Let's get a gauge of what's in the area. So we have a thing there. Okay. There we go. Our habitat is up and running. Excellent. Let's call in our cargo drop. Perfect. And as always, just for now, I shall place this here. Get it plugged in. Get the fabricator in as well. Okay. Perfect. Right. Just as I went through on my last video, the 0.9 update has also added these little growth things here. Research. They grow on all the rocks, they grow in caves, on plants and trees. You can find them all over the surface and underground as well. You can actually stockpile them, so you can put them in your backpack, or you can, if you want to, just research them, as I just did, in situ. Oh. So we'll take this one back to the base, I think. As I say, I have set this new game up completely because, apologies, my last game crashed mid-flow and it ended the broadcast quite abruptly, so apologies to anybody that was watching that. There you go, you can research them straight from the backpack. Okay, so new features. Walk, terrain tool, we know all that. Collect resources, crafting, we know that. Tethers, we know all that. Collecting resources, we know all that. Printing that, we know that. We know that. And we know all that. So that's just a quick guide. There you go, up and done. Right, let's find some compound. Here we go. Always try not to mine all of your resource out of the ground. If you leave a little patch of it, it should start to regenerate over time. Oh, got a big piece of research here. We'll take this back to base as well. Ready for when we build our first research chamber. See if there's any more compound around. This is indeed the only downside about starting a new game is I forget how quickly you do actually run out of oxygen. So you need to stay quite close to your base or print off some tethers. Right. Let's head in this direction, shall we? See if we can find some compound. Seems to have quite a lot of resin in this area. My last game that I started on this first update, there wasn't actually any resin at all in the area. I had to travel out quite far to get to some resin, so seems to be the opposite on this game. We've got quite a lot of resin and virtually no compound. Yep. Okay. Let's gather up some of this resin then, shall we? As we are going to need it. As I said with the compound, try not to mine it all, because if you mine it all, it doesn't regenerate. Whereas if you do mine it, if you don't mine it all, it will regenerate. If you do mine it all, then it won't. So it's always handy to leave a little bit in the ground, and then you can come back to it later on when you need some more. We shan't venture into the caves just yet, because if we do that, we are highly likely to die. If we can. Stood in the way. Let's try again. We will print off one of them. Let's have a venture out this way and see. Here we go. Seems to have quite a bit of compound over here. Let's get some of this mined. As I say, early on in this stage of the game, your main aim is to just get your base established, research chamber, things like that, and then you can start to print other things later on. Go. Let's print off a research chamber. There we go. Also, in this update, one of the good things is that early on in the game you might use a lot of small solar panels, you might use a lot of small wind turbines, small generators. You can actually put these into the shredder and use them for scrap later on, which is quite cool. Yeah, which is a really nice tweak, because generally you dig a pit in the middle of nowhere and just put all the stuff you don't use in it anymore, because once you don't need it, it just sort of hangs around. Well, now you can actually get rid of them, which is good, and add them to basically put them in the bin and get some resources back off them, which is a nice little touch, I think. As with most things on Astroneer, it's not completely simple. There are different size shredders, and certain things can only go in certain sizes, so okay, let's head out to where we were before and see if we can get some of this some more of this resin mined, because we're going to need a lot of this resin. We don't want to use it all. let's print off a canister because we're going to need that for making our terrain a little bit better. So we have in the vicinity of our base a derelict craft. Looks like we are out of tethers. A little bit more compound there just in case we should need it. Yes. Derelict craft, bit of debris. What have we got inside here? And I think we'll take that back to base ready for when we build our small rover. I may need to hurry though, as my oxygen reserves are getting quite low. Yep. As you can see as well, the icons have actually changed quite dramatically as well. So they're not these big warning signs now that take up half of the screen. Once your power recharges, it's a cute little icon that just pops out of your head. And you've got your little icon that says who you are, which is yeah, it's simplified, so it's not taking up half the screen now when you start dying because you've run out of oxygen, and it blinds you because you can't see where you're going because the notification's taking up half the screen. It's nice and small now, and you've also got 3 camera angles, which is quite camera settings, so you can be up close like this, slightly zoomed out, or zoomed out quite a lot. I like to stay zoomed out quite a lot. It gives me a bit of more of a view, 360 view. You can tend to see a bit more what's going on, which is handy as well for when you're exploring, because when you're exploring a bit more you can actually see your beacons if you zoomed out a bit better. I think what we shall do now is we're going to have to start looking at some power. So we shall print a small generator. And right, we need to research what can we start with. So we have a small wind turbine and a small solar panel. So we can research both of them because they're quite important. Let's see if we can actually... No, we haven't got enough yet to print off a mineral extractor. We do actually need a mineral extractor quite early on, because then what you can do is you can just harvest a couple of samples of each of your types of resource and then just go around collecting dirt basically and turn your dirt into the resources that you need. So what we shall do is I still have my canister, which is good. I've just used all my resin, so we need to go and get another resin sample. As you can see, it's already started to regenerate a little bit, which is good. Yeah, we'll leave that for now and we'll head back over to this one here. See if this has regenerated any. Yes, but not massively. Looks like we have a sandstorm coming in, so I'm going to get back to the base quickly. These sandstorms can be lethal. Generally in the first part of the game they tend to not throw too much debris around, but as you get further on into the game it starts throwing rocks and things around and it can actually kill you quite quickly. So we're just going to take shelter in here for a second. As my power source is quite low, which is not really great. You see visibility is virtually zero when there's a sandstorm, so navigating around in this is quite difficult. You can quite easily get lost. You can also quite easily get killed as it starts throwing debris around as well. So generally best idea is take cover in your base or in a vehicle if you have one. If you don't, dig a hole, stay in it till the storm's passed. They don't normally last too long, these storms are normally over quite quickly. One thing I have noticed with the 0.9 update as well is something in the old previous builds of this game was quite frustrating, is that when the sandstorms actually hit your base, your wind turbines didn't really do anything, which I thought was a bit frustrating, because if there was a massive sandstorm outside your base, your wind turbines would be going like Billio and your power output would be fantastic, but it didn't seem to be the case. So I'm going to take our copper and our aluminium from our little salvage run. As you can see, the little power icon there, a new power icon going down. It's really good. And we'll print off wind turbine, and we'll print off a little solar panel. What we shall do is we shall put both of these onto our research chamber. Give us plenty of power, they will. Okay. As our base gets bigger and bigger, our power requirements also become bigger and bigger. As with all builds of this game, the majority of resources are found underground. However, derelict spacecrafts, other bases from other Astroneers that are dotted around the place that have been wrecked by storms and the wind, they are also a good place to find resources. We have indeed already been over to this one. Let's see if we can create some more tethers and see if we can get further over to the next one. Because there'll be some resources in that, which no doubt we shall need. I always find as soon as you tether disconnects, if you drop a new one it connects automatically. If you just forget, it'll you have to faff about repositioning it, whereas if you just drop them as soon as you disconnect, then the line stays spot on. Looks like we've got some sort of resource down there. May have to create a bridge. Oh, some copper, excellent. Get some of this research while we're here, why not? As I say, we've already been to this spacecraft. It's quite annoying in the early builds of this game that these things were just dotted around and you couldn't really do anything with them, but now we can actually pick these items up, we can take them back to base, and once we have a shredder we can shred them for a bit of resource. I'm not sure about the bigger stuff. No, that's still unsalvageable. Oh, there we go. I've got a bit ahead of myself, and I'm starting to suffocate. Not great. Am I going to make it? I don't think I'm going to make it. Oh no, just didn't make it. Unfortunately, I am dead. Great. Luckily, we're not too far from the tether, so we can still get back. When you die, by the way, it's always a good idea to keep the planet in your camera view, because you can actually see some of the resources, some of the derelict bases and ships as you come down to land. Doesn't seem to be a lot. Ah, there's something on the top of the mountain there. Yeah, it's always a handy little tip, that keep the planet on your camera, and then you can always have a bit of a scavenge and a bit of an explore later on. It gives you an indication of which ways to go. Also, when you die, these things tend to regenerate, which is great, because then you have more bytes to spend on unlocking your research later on, which is really helpful. And our resin is still not regenerating. I think I may have overmined that one slightly. Ah, this one's starting to regenerate, which is good. It would be nice if you could scrap these things, but you can't really do much with them once you've gathered the resources from them, which is, again, a little bit frustrating, but it'd be nice if you could. So, just nip over here and get this research off these rocks. Every little helps, as they say. Oh, there's quite a lot on this one, fantastic. There we go. And if you look in the distance over there, which we've now noticed, which I didn't notice before, is there is actually a derelict pod over there. So if we just salvage our stuff from our guy and have a bit of an explore over here and see if there's another Astroneer over here, an unfortunate victim of a crash, which does seem to be. There is one. Excellent. So we can research that. We can take his extenders, and we can actually dig up this pod, and again we can take all these pieces later on back to our base and add them to the shredder. Oh, some power cells there, which are helpful. Okay, can't really see. Oh, there's a bit more resin here. We'll mine some of this while we're here, because we do need resin. Try not to overmine it. Let's head back to tethers before we suffocate and die again. There we go. Oh, stuck on a rock. That could have ended badly. There we go, we have a full bar again. Let's just have a little bit of an adventure into this cave and see what we can find. Nice bit of research there, and have a bit of compound here too. Excellent. Again, we'll try not to overmine it too much, because we don't want it to disappear. We'll need to come back and get some of this compound later on. There seems to be some fuel down there as well. So these are all these caves around there are clearly worth venturing into a bit more. So let's get back to the base and get our base built up a bit more, and then we can look at building this shredder that everyone's looking forward to seeing. More research there, we'll have you, thank you. Right. See if we have enough bytes yet to unlock mineral extractor. We should have. Yes, we do. So now we have our mineral extractor. We can get one of these printed. That'll save us doing too much exploring for a while. So what we can do, we can actually build this. And if we go into our backpack now and build a couple more canisters. There we go. Oh, we seem to be out of power. We'll leave our extenders and whatnot here for a while. Bits of copper, because we won't need them just yet. We can actually utilise that power. There we go. Excellent. Right, now we have our mineral extractor. Take them back. Our mineral extractor there. Unpack that. Now if we some resin there, so build a bridge. Research that as we can get it in view. Let's head over here. Oh. Excellent. Looks like we may have some titanium and some other bits and bobs down there. Take these back to base. So this researcher going. Right. As we have. Oops. Ah, now because we've dropped this mineral, we're going to have to move this base out of the way. There we go. Put that back. There we go. Sometimes that happens if you drop it slightly. It's your resource will drop through the bottom of it, and then it won't let you select it. So you have to move the base to get it. But luckily, we can actually move the bases now. So if we put our sample into the sampler, mineral extractor, take our soil, put that in there too. We need a bit more soil yet. I think we won't print that just yet. Where's our bridge? There we go. There's some more resin over here. Yes, we do. We'll mine some of this. Seems to be we have some lacerite nearby too, which is always good. Oh wow. We've opened up into a cave already. Ah. Need to be careful of these things, because these things pump out noxious gas, which will indeed kill you should you get too close. Oh right, so we've fallen onto quite a useful little cave here. Just head back to base for a second. We need to get some compound. There we go. Let's print a few more canisters. We need to get compound. Right. I know it seems excessive that I'm printing off so many canisters, but now we have our mineral extractor. I already have a sample of aluminium. I have a sample of aluminium ore. I have a sample of copper ore. I have a sample of fuel. All I need now is a sample of resin, which I have in the mineral extractor, and a sample of compound, and I can actually just keep printing off them resources just by filling the canisters with soil and then using the soil to replicate the resource. It just basically means we start quarrying, which is really useful, because it means we don't have to venture too far away from base. We don't have to worry about suffocating and losing oxygen. We can just get our sample. There we go, we have our sample. We can now head back to base. cave system looks quite elaborate actually, which is good for us. As it's so close to the base, we can actually just tunnel down from the base straight into that. So, now we have our samples. I'm going to move that over there. Move the extenders out over here. Right. Now we need to fill our canisters, so as this is a bit of a tunnel here anyway, I think we shall utilise this. We don't need this little bit of compound anymore, so we can get rid of that. And we'll utilise this as our quarry, so we'll use this area to fill our canisters up. Now if you want to, at this stage, if you've got enough bytes and you've got the right resource to do it, you can actually print off a turbo mod, which I think would be beneficial to me right now, because I want to fill a lot of canisters up, and having a turbo mod will actually do that. So what we'll do is we'll open up the backpack, see if we can get, we can print off a medium shredder or a large shredder. Oh wow, and a trade platform already, fantastic. However, we want, we haven't unlocked the turbo mod yet, so yeah, let's go for the large shredder. I think we'll print that off now. Let's fill some more canisters up. Now we've got the large shredder unlocked, we can hopefully show you how that works. Yeah, the turbo mod's fantastic, because if you get the turbo mod on your terrain analyzer, you can actually fill these canisters up quite quickly. Now, however, because we are indeed not got the turbo mod, we have to do this the slow way. But you get the gist. You fill up the canisters go into the mineral extractor extracts the minerals, use it as a resource, build your base, get yourself well established. Nice, simple, quick way of getting set up, getting everything you need before you go exploring. As you look at your terrain tool, you'll see the little white lines. Each white line represents, each white line splits the circle into segments. Each segment represents any canisters you have. Oh, I'm suffocating. Yeah. So, and as you dig and fill up your canisters, the outer circle fills up blue, which indicates that your canisters are filling up. I mean, to Astroneer veterans, this is all old news, but it's worth mentioning for anybody new that decides to watch these videos. It just gives you an indication, without checking your backpack, how well you're doing with filling up your canisters. Once your outer blue circle on your terrain tool is completely blue, and all your canisters in your backpack are full. Obviously, the more canisters you have, the more segments you need to fill, so on and so forth. Depending on where your pod lands as well at the beginning of your game, sometimes you can just land by a mountain and you can just quarry the entire mountain, which is a good way of filling canisters. So there we go. So now our outer circle is completely blue, which means all the canisters in our backpack are full. Another way of indicating that is that if all the lights are green, it is full. So we need a little bit more. There we go. And that little doo-doo noise indicates also that your canister's full. So now our canister is full. We can put it into our mineral extractor. Now, on the mineral extractor in this location here, you'll see the little dotted lines. They indicate how much soil is in, and the little green line tells you how much soil you need to print off maximum amount of each resource. Each resource requires different amounts of soil, so if I was to take that out and place my copper ore in there into the terrain analyzer, There you go. You'll see that the segments have got a lot bigger, they're a lot more spaced apart, and in order to print off 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces of copper ore, I need to fill the gauge completely. The rarer the resource, the more segments there are to fill. I think for things like lithium and titanium, you need to fill it just to get one resource, which can be quite time consuming, so the more canisters you have, the better really. So now we're going to extract our resource. That should give us a few more of these. Just while that's printing, I'm going to go and jump into here just to save the game, just in case it crashes on me again like it did last time. There we go. Wonderful. Right. There we go. That's give us 3 new pieces of resin. We can now use this resin as a resource to put that down there. And we'll now put our compound in there. Compound and resin are our 2 main resources. You need them to print off platforms and to print off smelters, printers, things like that, which will help you on in the game. So yeah, resin and compound are probably the 2 most abundant resources that we need when setting up a base. So that's all my canisters are now empty, and we shall print off, extract that resource into here. Large shredder, we need 2 aluminium for a large shredder. We need another platform, so keep standing in the way. Print off a new, and it looks like we have another sandstorm coming in, which is just great. Let's see if we can utilise this sandstorm. Wind turbine still isn't turning right now, so we're going to just hide inside our base until the storm has passed. Oh, there we go, the wind turbine is moving, which is good. Once this storm has passed, we can continue with our base expansion. Sorry it's a bit long-winded, but obviously I had to start a new game in order to use the new features. Unfortunately, you get a warning when you try to load an old save game after each update that says you're trying to load a game which is no longer unsupported. It's recommended you start a new game after each update. To most Astroneer players like me who's been playing since really the early stages of the preview, that can be a bit frustrating because you invest quite a lot of time into each build of the game, and well, I tend to stockpile resources and things like that on each one of my bases, so to have to delete a game save and then start again can be quite frustrating. Large shredder, we need 2 aluminium for that. So we'll leave our samples here. reorganise the backpack slightly. Right, now if we... yeah, we have our 2 samples there. We have 2 samples there. Right, if we go back to our quarry. Start to dig our... dig our way through. A nice way of filling your canisters up as well as you get later on in the game is making ramps and building exits and entrances to large cave systems for your rovers. That's always a good way for filling your canisters, and then when you get back to your base you can just empty them into your mineral extractor, and then when you need some minerals you just print them off. It's a nice easy way of getting established, getting a base built. But for the sake of this game I'm just going to get enough resources and things so I can show you the new shredder in action, and then maybe expand on this base a bit more in another video later on. Don't want to keep rambling on about the same stuff. I need to head back to base because I'm starting to suffocate. Quick, make it back. Don't want to die this close to my base, it'd be a little bit embarrassing. There we go. Right. Right, so we wanted some aluminium this time, didn't we? We also need to build a smelter. Right, so we need quite a lot of soil for this. So we may have to just go back to our quarry, and I think we're going to have to unlock a smelter first. So if we get a couple more platforms printed off, I think platforms need resin, don't they? Yes, we do need resin. We don't want to waste our sample, so what we'll do, put that back in there. We will add this to our mineral extractor. Just get a bit more soil from our quarry. We could in fact cheat a little bit here and build a small bridge. Just go back to our tethers. Definitely think I've overmined that first resin field. Shame really, because I could have done without regenerating. We'll try not to overmine this one. Let's head back to base. Or at least to our tethers, and we can get our... Yeah. Actually make a new quarry by our tethers, which would be helpful. There we go, we're nearly got all our canisters full. As I say, it's a lot quicker once you've unlocked the turbo mod. That's it, we are completely full. We're stuck on a rock. Back to our tethers. Back to base. And we can print some resin now. Quite quickly. And because of where we were mining, we've actually got some power as well, which is quite helpful. A good thing to do as well is quite quickly establish which direction the sun rises and sets in your base, and make sure you've got solar panels set up so that all day your solar panels actually attract the sun. Wherever my solar panel has decided to disappear to, which is there. There we go, if we put it, it's a bit far away that. There we go. Okay. Right, so now we have our resin. We can print off a large platform. And hopefully... Oh, we need some more research too. Okay, as we haven't got any research at the moment, we can actually just research some resin. Which will give us a few bites. Nothing spectacular, but it will help. As I say, I'm just for speed at the moment, I am just throwing these together. Right, if we venture into our cave, wherever our cave has gone. We may be able to find some research quite close. As I say, these things that throw out quite nasty gases that will kill you quite quickly if you get too close. So it's always a good idea to try and kill them before you get too close. Let's compound lots of resin here. Use these bubbles to give us some oxygen because we are running low. Is there any research anywhere nearby? Yep, there we go. We can take this now back to base. use these bubbles to refill our oxygen as we're a little too far from home. There we go. Excellent. This research is growing back, which is brilliant for us. So we can keep doing this. Make ourselves a little path. Power research, yeah, so we have quite an abundance of cave systems around here, which is actually really helpful. Yes, I know. And, oh, 1000. Excellent. Once that's finished doing, we can indeed. Right, shall we gather some of our tethers up and then we can head into our cave system then? I think that would be a good idea. See, tethers are useful because you have an abundance of an oxygen supply and you don't have to worry about it. However, if you do get stuck in a cave, it's handy to have a couple of oxygen tanks with you as well. Oh, I didn't want to do that. There we are. Right. Okay, we are full of tethers. Wow, that's quite a... Here we are, we're right in the... It's pretty much right in the centre of a quite elaborate caving system here. Which we may be able to use to our advantage. Oh, a bit too close to that then. Whoa. Now that is a deep hole. I think what we shall do is we shall investigate that further later on in the game. There we go. Take some of this copper back to base. I'm hoping that now we should have enough research to unlock our smelter. Then we can make our shredder, which is the whole purpose of this video, but unfortunately it's taking a little longer than I expected. So we've been playing for about 54 minutes now. And we are still not really much closer. Right, so have we got enough bytes to unlock our smelter? Yes, we have. Fantastic. We shall do that now. And what do we need to create a smelter? Compound, excellent. There we go, we shall let that create. Still running low on power, so we can use our power cells now to do the job. Excellent, and then we can get our smelter in place. Smelt all this copper and aluminium up. And We need to power sample in there. Don't think we're going to have enough soil to fill it, but we've definitely got enough to print a couple of aluminium, which is really what we need. Now if we take our smelter now and unpack our smelter. We can use a few pieces of copper on there because we're going to need them shortly. And once our power situation is sorted, we should have 2 shiny new aluminiums ores, and we can now print these. We can smelt these up and print our shredder off. Now, while that's waiting to smelt, there we go. I am going to take this piece of copper here. I am going to make a work light, which I haven't unlocked yet. However, as it is extremely dark, it's always handy to have a work light around. There we go, that makes things so much easier. Excellent. We'll have this create another platform, I think. Then we can utilise that platform for our shredder. We seem to be having some power issues. Hopefully as the sun rises, our little solar panel should do its job. Which for some reason it isn't doing right now, which is slightly irritating. There we go. Interesting. We have our generator, I suppose we could utilise that. Some speed things up a little bit, hopefully, with our generator working. There we go. Right, we should be able to print our shredder soon, and then we'll be able to go out there, get some debris and show you how it works. Excellent. Perfect. We've got another storm coming in, just as we want to, just as we're getting somewhere. The storm decides to appear. Where's that just gone now? That's there. Well, while that is doing that, we will print off a large shredder. Quickly get our resource before it disappears. Where's it gone? Our resin is flying away. Oh, here we go. We've got debris flying around now, so we must be getting a little bit more. Whoa, a little bit more advanced. Oh, there we go. As you can see, that hurt quite badly. Need to get indoors before this storm killed me. Oh no, right. We're at full power now. As you can see, the turbine is going quite fast, which is brilliant because we need all the power we can get. Oh, there we go. Look, all the debris flying around now. And it's past. Excellent. Excellent. We now have a shredder. Perfect. Right. No, we don't want the canisters in the shredder. Thank you very much. Some tethers, which is good, and we'll put our canisters down there. I wonder if we can shred this. Can't shred compound. Okay. Let's head out to one of our derelict vehicles. Where was that? Where was the pod? The pod was over the bridge, wasn't it? Right. See if we can bring this back now and get it shredded. And then you'll see the scrap resource. Now, depending, we've got a large shredder, so we should be able to shred pretty much anything that we find derelict vessel-wise. However, each piece of derelict ship that you shred has a different yield, so you might only get a couple of little pieces of scrap from this. However, if we bring the pod back, we might get a full resource pod of scrap, which we can then put on a trade platform and trade for copper or aluminium or and other resources should we need them. Obviously I haven't got the trade platform set up just yet on this particular game, but this was just really to show you the shredder and show you the shredder how the shredder works. So we should now be able to drop this piece of resource into the shredder. Get close up on this one because I haven't seen this work myself, and away it goes. Look at that. So now you can see that the resource is starting to be built. It shreds up all that. resource. And as you can see, the scrap is being built, which is fantastic. Oh, we're getting quite a lot off that actually, which is surprising. I didn't think we'd get that much off that. Oh, excellent. So as you can see, now we have a piece of scrap that we can send on our trade platform, back up and away to whoever it is up there that takes the trade platform, and yeah, and gives us our resources. Right, I'm going to just, before I end this video, I'm going to have a run over here. I'm going to pick up the whole pod and see if we can shred the whole pod. I'm assuming you can, because you can pick the pod up, but I'm just going to try it just to satisfy my own curiosity. And then after that I'll take a short break and I'll come back and we'll make this base a bit more effective, build a couple of rovers, and we'll do a bit more exploring and see if we can find some more derelict bases and resources and things like that. So let's just go and get this pod. Where was the pod? It was over here somewhere. Ah, here we are. Let's take this pod back to base. Drop this in. Where is our bridge? Ah, there's our tethers. Once we get back to our tethers. There we go. Fantastic. It's when you're carrying large items like this, it is extremely frustrating how slow your Astroneer works and moves, but I suppose if you were carrying a big pod like this, you'd move pretty slow too. So let's closer in, and we'll see if we can drop this bad boy into the shredder. Wow, excellent, look at that. And away it goes. Away indeed it goes. So we'll wait till that finishes shredding, I think. And we're going to need quite a lot of power for using this shredder, aren't we? So there we go. Oh wow, it's finished already. Wow, that was quick. Yeah, we didn't get... I assumed we'd get quite a bit more scrap off that myself, but hey ho, two packs isn't too bad. So there we go, now you've seen the shredder work. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do like what we've done today, hit the subscribe button. We also have a YouTube channel as well as a Twitch channel, so like I say, I haven't been doing many videos recently, but there hasn't been really much to talk about, but now the update is out, I think there is. So I'll be back in a few to do another live broadcast. I hope you've enjoyed this. I'm going to jump in my habitat, save my game, and for now say sayonara, thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Thanks guys, bye.